PN Singh Rajawat, and I here welcome you all on this lecture number 3 of periodic classification of elements. So what have you seen in lecture number 1 and lecture number 2? You have seen the early attempts of classifying elements which were based on the atomic masses. Now we are going to move into what? We are going to move into the modern periodic table and what are the merits, demerits, long form of periodic table, and also we will see some of the description of periods as well as the groups. So what are these periods and groups are? So here we are going to find this in this particular lecture. So let us see just for a while what are the contents that we are going to study in this particular chapter. As I have already told you, that is the modern periodic table, long form of periodic table, merits and demerits of the periodic table, and also the description of periods and the groups. So these are also important for you. You should know how to read a periodic table, and also the most and important part, that is the periodicity, that how a periodic table is not just a cluster of elements, it is the family of elements in which the properties of the elements are repeated after certain elements. So let us start with the first topic, which is a modern periodic table. So here you see a young physicist, that is Henry Moseley. Here you see an X-ray tube in his hand. So what was he famous for? He is famous for his experiment in which he bombarded the several metals with the high speed electrons, and he obtained the X-rays which are formed at that time, and he calculated their frequency and find a very particular similarity in all of these elements. So let us find out what was this similarity and how this led to the making of modern periodic table. So here you see in 1930, remember the date, that is in 1930, an English physicist Henry Moseley did an experiment in which he bombarded high speed electrons to the highly dense metals and obtained the X-rays. Just like that, you can see here, just for an example, this is a metal and this is the high speed electron which is moving towards the metal. So as soon as this high speed electron will strike to this metal surface, an electromagnetic wave will be produced. So this electromagnetic wave falls under the X-ray of the electromagnetic spectra, and he obtained the frequency and the wavelength of this particular electromagnetic wave. And he not only did that, he made a similarity and a conclusion based on his experiment. So what was the conclusion that he made? So we are going to see it in here. So this was the experiment in which he bombarded the metals like manganese, chromium, vanadium, titanium, calcium, and other metals like iron, cobalt, nickel, and such that. And he obtained the wavelength as well as the frequency which was obtained when a particular electron beam strike to the highly dense metal. So his relationship was the frequency of the electromagnetic wave, that is the X-ray, the under root of the frequency which was produced, is directly proportional to the atomic number. So based on this experiment, when he plotted the graph between the frequency or the under root of frequency along with the atomic mass, he do not get any straight line pattern, while in doing so with the under root of frequency and atomic number, he get a perfect straight line. So he concluded from this particular experiment that the fundamental properties of the elements must be something related to the atomic number. So he finally gave his law, that is the modern periodic law, in which he says that the physical and the chemical properties of the elements are the periodic function of their atomic number. In case if you don't know what is atomic number, so let us revise it for a while. Just for an example, see here that if X represents what? If it represents the symbol for an element, the Z would be representing what? Z would be representing the atomic number. And what is this atomic number? Atomic number is simply the number of protons that are present inside the nucleus of an atom. If I talk about the atom, atom is what? Atom is electrically neutral. So if an atom is electrically neutral, this simply means that the number of protons which are present inside the nucleus of an atom will be equal to the number of electrons which are revolving around the nucleus. So it simply means from these equations, that is the atomic number will be equal to the number of protons, and it will also be automatically equal to the number of electrons. And you all know that atoms take part in a chemical reaction, and in doing so, there is a making and breaking of chemical bonds, which involves either the transfer of electrons or the sharing of electrons. So here, electron is a very fundamental property for any chemical reaction. So now moving back. So now you understand that the modern periodic law, which says that the physical and the chemical properties of an element are the periodic function of their atomic number, which is represented by Z, and the atomic number is equal to the number of electrons or protons in a neutral atom. You understand what is the meaning of this line. Now moving into the periodicity. What is periodicity? So periodicity is what? Periodicity is the repetition of elements with their similar properties after certain regular intervals or after certain regular elements, when the elements were arranged in the increasing order of their atomic number. Remember students, atomic number is the main fundamental property for the periodic table, for the periodicity occurring in the periodic table. So now moving into and see, that is the modern periodic table. Here you see a full periodic table in which the groups and the periods are given. Here you see a modern periodic table in which the elements are arranged in the form of increasing atomic numbers, starting from the hydrogen, which is having the atomic number 1, and ending up to 118th element, that is organism. Here the horizontal rows, they represent the periods, while the vertical columns, they represent the groups. So the question arises, how many periods and groups are there in the periodic table? So there are total number of 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 periods in a periodic table, and the groups are total 1 to 18, that is 18 groups. Now if you want to find any particular element, what you need to know? You need to know the group number as well as the period number. So now moving into the another slide, that is a periodic table for elements. So here we are going to study that how to read a periodic table. Here you see the block in which a single block is representing a single element. In this you will see a symbol of a particular element. Just for example, here you see hydrogen, which is a symbol for hydrogen element. The upper part represents the atomic number, while the number which is presenting at the lower part, it is representing the electrons per shell. Also you will see a fractional number. So this fractional number is representing what? It is representing the atomic mass of that element, taking into the consideration of all the isotopes. That's why it is in a fraction. Here you also see, that is along with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 18, there is Roman number is also given. There is the number and the Roman alphabet is also given. So what does this represent and how they are related to each other? So this is the earlier way, or it is the older way of representing groups. So groups are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. So there are 18 groups, while there are what? There are 7 periods. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 periods. Now moving into the groups and see that what is the earlier form of representation. So here 1 is represented by 1A. At the earlier times 2 is represented as 2A, while 13 was represented as 3A, 14 as 4A, 15 as 5A, 16 as 6A, 17 as 7A, while the group 18 was represented as the 0 group for the noble gases. Here checking for these, here the group 3 was represented by 3B, 4 by 4B, 5 by 5B, 6 by 6B, 7 by 7B, 8, 9, 10, they were all represented by 8, and 11 group was represented by 1B and 2B. So it is what? These 1A, 2A, as you remember, the Mendeleev also gives the subgroups including with the group. Just for example, 1, here you can see 1A, so it is having two parts. So 1A, it is a subgroup of, so here you see 1A, so 1A and 1B, they are the subgroups of what? They are the subgroups of group number 1, which is present in the Mendeleev's periodic table. It is just the rearrangement of elements in the increasing order of their atomic number. Here you can see that this periodic table is so much colorful. So why the colors are being put in this periodic table? So here each color is representing a different family of elements. Just for an example, here you can see the pink color, it is representing the family of noble gases, while these green color is representing the non-metals, while the yellow color line, which is a zigzag line differentiating non-metals with the metals, they are representing the metalloids, while here you can see that is they all are metals, in which a family of metal named the alkali metals was represented by red color in this periodic table, and alkaline earth metals was represented, or group 2 metals is represented by the yellow color in this particular periodic table. Here you might all be wondering that why this periodic table would be like that, why it is not completed. So students, this periodic table is completed as per the 118 elements. If the more elements were discovered or invented in the near future, they will take 8th period, and we are going to start filling the periodic table from this 8th period. So here this periodic table seems to be completed, but who knows how many elements are there that are need to be discovered or invented. So moving into the next, that is the cause of periodicity. So why there is a cause of periodicity and why the particular elements are repeating certain kind of properties. So here the cause of periodicity, it is the repetition of the valence shell electrons. It is the repetition of the valence shell electrons. So what does this valence shell and valence shell electron means? So let us move into the board to find out what does the valence shell and the valence shell electrons mean. So just for an example, if I talk about sodium, lithium, magnesium. So these are what? These are certain different elements. So the symbol for sodium is Na, the symbol for lithium is Li, while the symbol for magnesium is Mg, representing their atomic number. So the atomic number of sodium is 11, while the atomic number for lithium is 3, and the atomic number for magnesium is 12. Now what we have to do, we have to simply write their electronic configuration. So for the sodium, the electronic configuration is, that is in the K shell, in the L shell, in the M shell, it is 2, 8, 1 respectively. Or you can see that here is the nucleus having the positive charge. In the first shell it is having 2 electrons, while in the second shell it will be having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8 electrons, as it is represented here. In the third shell it is having only 1 electron. So what does this mean? It simply means that this particular shell, or the M shell, is what? It is the valence shell, and the electron which is present in the valence shell is known as the valence electron. So for sodium, M shell is the valence shell, and the electron which is present in this particular shell is known as the valence electron. Checking out for the lithium. So lithium is having 3 atomic number. Its electronic configuration will be, that is 2, 1. Here KLM represents the name of the particular shell. Just for an example, if I say the K is what? The name of the first shell, L is the name of the second shell, M is the name of the third shell. So now how this lithium is. So now checking for the lithium, here this is the nucleus, this is the first shell which contains 2 electrons, and it is the second shell which contains only 1 electron. So students, what you see here, that is in the first shell, that is in the K shell, only 2 electrons are present, while in the L shell only 1 electron is present. So this L shell here is termed as the valence shell. It contains what? It contains the electron which is equal to that of the sodium. So since the electrons are equal in both the cases, it means what? It means that the chemical properties of lithium and sodium will be similar. Now checking for the magnesium, that is in the K, L and M shell, the electrons are rearranged as 2, 8, 2. So here you got the nucleus in the first shell, the second shell and the third shell. So in the first shell, the number of atoms that are present are 2. In the second shell, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. While in the last shell, that is the M shell, the number of electrons are 2. So for the magnesium, the valence shell is the M shell, which contains 2 electrons, and the electrons which are present in this particular shell, that is 2 electrons, they are called as the valence electrons, or we can also call them by the name as the outermost shell electrons. It is due to these valence electrons element shows similar properties. As you can see here, the sodium and lithium are having the same number of valence electrons. That is why their chemical properties is similar to each other. So now moving back into, now you know what is the cause of periodicity. Just reading it out, that is the periodic representation of the properties of the elements is due to the reoccurrence of the similar valence shell electrons. It is due to the similar valence shell electrons or the outermost shell electrons. Now moving into the example, here you see that is the elements, which is an example of alkali metals. And what are the alkali metals? The alkali metals are lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium and francium. These family of metal is termed as the alkali metals because they form alkalis. So what are the alkalis? Alkalis are those bases which are completely soluble in water. We are going to deal with it in the chapter named acid and bases. So now here let's see what is the electronic configuration of lithium. So the electronic configuration of lithium is 2, 1, while that of sodium is 2, 8, 1. It means that it is having total number of 11 electrons, while the lithium is having total number of 3 electrons. So the arrangement of electron is termed as the electronic configuration. You have already studied this in your class 9. And here you see for the potassium it is 19. So what is the electronic configuration of potassium? It is 2, 8, 8, 1. So here you see in the lithium the outermost shell. So here you see in the lithium the outermost shell electron or the valence electron is 1, while in the case of sodium it is also 1, in the potassium it is also 1, in the case of rubidium it is also 1, in the case of cesium it is also 1, while in the case of francium the valence shell electron is 1. So they all are having the same number of valence electron. It means that their chemical properties would be similar, and all these elements will form a families because of the reoccurrence of their similar properties. So now moving into the next, that is the long form of periodic table. So the long form of periodic table is based on the modern periodic law, which says that the fundamental properties of the elements are the periodic function of their atomic number. And the long form of periodic table is contributed by, that is, Range, Werner, Bohr and Bury. The table is also referred to as the Bohr's schemes because of the arrangement of the elements into 4 types. So what are these configuration and what are these 4 types? So these 4 types are basically the subshells, and the filling of electrons in various subshells classified the elements into different categories. So let us check it out. In this you can see the green, blue, orange and the pink color. So these are 4 different colors which represents the S block, P block, D block and F block respectively. And also you can see that the elements that are presented with the green are called as the S block elements, in which the S subshell is being filled, while the elements in the P block is represented by this particular color, in which the P subshell is being filled. Here the number is given, that is 2p, 3p, 4p, 5p, 6p and 7p. So these represents different subshells present in the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shells respectively. So now students, looking into the long form of periodic table, which is based on these 4 particular blocks, that is S block, P block, D block and F block. So these block represents the filling of subshells, that is the S subshell, P subshell, D subshell and the F subshell. Here you see on the extreme left of this periodic table, you see the S block elements, because in this S block is being filled, while in the extreme lights you are going to see the P block elements, that is of the yellow color, in which the P subshell is being filled. It simply means the last electron is entering into the P subshell, while in the case of this, the electrons are being filled in the D subshell. Therefore, the elements in which the last electron enters into the D subshells, they are termed as the D block elements. So similarly, we have classified the elements into another category, that is the S block elements, P block elements, D block elements, and the F block elements. You can also see here that is 1s, 2s, 3s, and so on, and 2p, 3p, 4p, and so on, and also that is 3d, 4d, 5d, 6d, and 4f and 5f. So what does this mean? This simply means here the number is representing the number of shell, while the symbol here is representing what? It is representing the subshell. It means that the 2s is representing the S subshell of second shell, while the 5s representing the S subshell of fifth shell or the fifth energy level. So now moving into another, that is the description of period. So what does the period tells us about? So the horizontal row of the periodic table is known as the period. There are total number of 7 periods in a periodic table, and each period consists of a series of elements having the same outermost shell. It simply means a particular shell is present, and as we move from left hand side to the right hand side, just by filling the electrons are being filled in a particular energy level or the shell. If the number of shells are increased, it means that we have to increase the period number. So it simply means that in the first period there is only one shell present, in the second period there are 2 shells present, in the third period there are 3 shells present, and so on. So up to the 7th period there are total number of 7 shells occupied, or simply means that the electrons are filled up to the 7th shell or the 7th energy level. So each period starts with the alkali metals, that is having the electronic shell configuration of Ns1, and it ends with the noble gases having the electronic configuration of Ns2 and P6, except for the helium, that is having the electronic configuration of 1s2, because in helium only first shell is completely filled, that is K shell is filled. So each shell starts with the filling of new energy level. This I have already told you. So now moving into the example, that is the first period, the second period, and we are dealing it with the 7th period, and we are also going to see this in a particular periodic table. So in the first period starts, just for an example, if this is the periodic table of elements, and here it is representing what? It is representing the period 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, and making it complete, just for an example like this. So there are total number of 7 periods. So the first period is starting from, that is hydrogen, and it is ending to the helium. So first period is all about 2 elements, that is hydrogen and helium. So it is called as a very short period. Moving into the second and the third period, they consist of total number of 8 elements. So the second period starts from the lithium and it ends to the neon, while the third period starts from the sodium and it ends to argon. Moving to the fourth and the fifth period, the fourth and fifth period, they both contains 18 elements. So the fourth period starts from the potassium and it ends to the krypton, while the fifth period starts from rubidium and it ends to xenon, which is a noble gas. Moving to the sixth and the seventh period, they are termed as a very long period. Why very long period? Because these particular periods contain total number of 32 elements. So here the 6th and the 7th, they are termed as the very long period, while the 4 and the while the 4 and 5, they are termed as long periods, and the 2 and 3 periods are termed as short periods. So these are termed on the basis of the number of elements which are present in a particular period. Just for an example, in a very short period, there are only 2 elements present. In the short period, there are 8 elements present, while in the case of long period, there are 18 elements present. And in the case of very long period, there are 32 elements present. So moving into the sixth period. So sixth period is starting from, that is the sixth period is starting from rubidium and it ends up to the radon. While it also contains the 14 lanthanoid metals, which starts from the cerium and it ends up to the lutetium, whose atomic number is 71. The seventh period starts from the francium and it ends up to the oganesson, while it also contains the actinoids element, which starts from the 90 atomic number, which is of thorium, and it ends to the 103, which is for the lawrencium. So this is all about the periods, and you have seen that the starting and the ending elements. So now moving into the group, that is the vertical column of the elements in the periodic table is termed as groups. And how many groups are there in a periodic table? There are total number of 18 groups, starting from 1 to 18. And what does the group consist of? The group consists of what? That is a series of elements having the similar shell electronic configuration. It simply means that outermost electronic configuration or the outermost shell configuration remains the same. Just for an example, you have seen like sodium, potassium and rubidium, they are having what? They are having the 1 electron in their outermost shell. And the group 18 is also known as the zero group because it is a noble gas and its valency is 0. It do not form any chemical bond with any other element. That's why we call it as a zero group. So now moving into some of these points. These points are very much important for you as per the examination. So the elements which are present in the 1, 2 and 13 to 17, they are called as the representative elements, while the elements in the group 1 and 2 are called as the alkali metals and the alkaline earth metals respectively. It simply means the elements in the group 1 are termed as the alkali metals, while the elements in the group 2 are termed as alkaline earth metals. The elements which are present in the group number 17, they are called as the halogens because they form salts, or we can say that they are salt forming compounds. That's why they are called as the halogen. The group 16 elements, they are called as the chalcogens because they form ores, or we can say that they are ore forming elements. The elements which are present in the group number 15 are called as nicogens. So why they are called as nicogens? Because the compounds that are formed by the group number 15 elements, they are suffocating. Now the other two groups, that is the group number 14 and the group number 13. The group number 14 is named as the carbon family because it starts with the carbon, while the group number 13 is termed as the boron family because the first member of the 13th group is boron. So let us check the periods and the groups and all of these points in a periodic table. So here you see a systematic periodic table in which all the groups and all the periods are present. It is starting from hydrogen and it is ending to oganesson, which is the 118th element. Here the number which is present at the top left of this corner, it is representing the atomic number, while the number which is present at the bottom, it is representing the atomic mass of the element. Here you can see that this particular group, which is the group number 18, it is representing what? It is representing the noble gases. Here I am writing that is group number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18 as I have already right here. So naming all these groups, the group number first is called as alkali metals, and it contains, that is lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium and francium. The group number 2, which starts from the beryllium and it ends up to the radium, that is beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium and radium. So this is termed as alkaline earth metals. The elements which are present in the group number 13, this particular group was named as boron family, because it is having the boron as a first member. The group number 14 is called as the carbon family due to the carbon as a first member. The group number 15 you can call it as the nitrogen family, oxygen family, fluorine family, but other names are also given. That is for group number 15 the name nicogens were given. For the group number 16 you have the name that is the chalcogens, while for the group number 17 you are having the name of halogens. So here you see that is the group number 1, 2, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18, they are termed as the representative elements. While checking for these, that is from the group number 3 to group number 12, they are called as the D block elements. And they are also sometimes referred as the transition elements. Now moving to this F block, here you see that is it is starting the two. Here you see that is the two series of elements which are placed under the periodic table. So why they are placed under the periodic table? If it would have been placed here, the length of the table would be a little bit longer. That's why these particular elements were placed in a separate position below the periodic table. It represents that these elements are in continuation with here you can see 56 element and the 56 to 71 elements, say X here. So here they are forming from 57 to the 71 element. So these are called as the lanthanoid series because they are coming after this particular element named as lanthanum. So here you can see the series of elements which are lying under the periodic table. So here the number 57 to the 71 which is after this particular element named as the lanthanum, which is after this particular element named as the lanthanum. So they are called as the lanthanoid series, while the series which is present below the lanthanoid series is known as the actinoid series. So these elements in the lanthanoid series, they are represented all in this particular place, while the actinoid series elements were represented in this particular place. You all know there are 7 periods, that is period 1, period 2, period 3, period 4, period 5, period 6 and period 7. So here you know that is the starting of a period and the ending of a period. As I have already told you that the first period starts from hydrogen and it ends to the helium. The second is starting from lithium and ending to the neon. So it contains only 2 elements, while the second and the third period contains 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is total 8 number of elements. The group number 4 and 5th, they contains total number of 18 elements. While the group number 6 and 7 they contains 18 plus 14. These also elements are present in group number 6 and group number 7. Just for an example, this lanthanoid series is placed over this place. It simply means that total number of 32 elements are present in the group number 6, in the period number 6 and the period number 7. So now moving into the merits of modern periodic table. So what are the merits of the modern periodic table? As you know, in the Mendeleev's periodic table there is an anomaly because Mendeleev placed the elements based on the basis of their properties irrespective of their atomic masses. If there is an anomaly in the atomic masses, he neglected that anomaly. So while placing the elements in the increasing order of their atomic number, the anomaly just disappeared. So these were the anomalies of the elements. So after putting the elements in the increasing order of their atomic number, it simply adjusted. So now moving into the second merit of the periodic table, that is the position of isotope. Since we are talking about the atomic number, and what are isotopes? Isotopes are those atoms of an element having the same chemical properties but different physical properties. And in the periodic table we have classified the elements on the basis of their atomic number. It simply means that all the isotopes will be given a one particular place. So the demerit of Mendeleev is here solved. And moving into another, what does Mendeleev did? Mendeleev placed some dissimilar atoms together while the similar atoms separated. While in the case of modern periodic table, the elements with the similar properties are placed with each other, while the elements with dissimilar properties are separated from each other. And the last, that is the cause of periodicity. Mendeleev have no answer why this periodicity is occurring, while in the periodic table you can easily find out that due to the occurrence of the similar valence shell configuration, this cause of periodicity, this periodicity is occurring. So now it's time for the making of a periodic table. So let us see this particular video in which you will see the 300 years of element discovery, and you will see that in which year particular element is discovered and find a place in this modern periodic table. So starting here, you see some other ancient elements, and as the time passes, more elements were discovered. So in the late 18th century, many elements were discovered, but the major outbreak came in the 19th and the 20th century, after the Mendeleev suggested that many more elements can be discovered. So here you see the periodic table taking its shape. This particular element here, the technetium, Mendeleev also left the gap for the technetium, but this particular metal is not discovered in the nature, so it have been made into the laboratories. We have entered into the 20th century, and half of the 20th century has been passed. So now you see that this periodic table is complete up to the 7th period as per the 2018. So now moving into the next slide, that is the demerits of modern periodic table. So what are the demerits? The number one demerit is the position of isotope. Isotope shows the properties very similar to that of the halogens as well as to the alkali metals. So where to place it? So this particular position of isotope is also the demerit of Mendeleev, and it is also a demerit of modern periodic table. The second demerit is the position of lanthanoids and the actinoids. You have seen in the previous video, and you have seen the periodic table in which the lanthanoids and the actinoids were placed below the periodic table. So it looked like the lanthanoid as well as the actinoids were cast out from the periodic table, because it seems that the whole of the periodic table is complete while the two rows were placed just below the periodic table. So this also seems like an anomaly. So the position of lanthanoid as well as the actinoids is also a demerit. Moving into another slide, that is the nomenclature of elements with the atomic number greater than 100. So what is IUPAC? IUPAC is International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. So it gives us what is, it gives us the information, it gives us the rules for the writing the names of particular elements or the compound. So here it gives us, that is, if I want to write the name of any particular element which will be discovered in near future, so what I have to do, I have to simply write it in this format. That is, for 0 I have to write nil, that is its abbreviation is N. For 1 its abbreviation is U, that is un. For 2 it's bi. For 3 it's tri. For 4 it's quad, and its abbreviation is Q. That is the first word of each word, like this. And for 5 it is termed as pent, and the abbreviation which we are using here, that is P. 6 for hex, 7 for hept, and the symbol, or I can say the abbreviation, is S. For 8 we are using, that is oct, that is O. For 9 we have to use N, that is E. So this is how we are going to write the name of any particular element having the atomic number greater than 100. So this rule was given by IUPAC, because if a new element is discovered, its properties or its researches remains undiscovered, and most of the scientists claim that they have discovered their particular element, because the elements having the atomic number greater than 100 are very costly and they are produced in very minute quantities. So what they did, they simply claimed the name for that particular element which they invent or the discover. So IUPAC interfere here and they recommend a pattern for that particular element until its discovery is been proven. So that is why they gave us this particular abbreviation for the writing the name, or I can say the number, atomic number of any particular element. Just for an example, if I want to write the name for the atomic number of 102, so how can I write? That is 1. So for 1 I have to use that is un, for 0 I have to use that is nil, and for 2 that is I have to use by. So its symbol would be what? Its symbol would be that is U for un, 0 for n, and 2 for by. So its symbol would be what? U and B, and it denotes what? It denotes that it is 102 element. And what would be its name? Its name would be simply that is un for 1, nil for 0, and for 2 that is by. And since it would be metal, so what I have to write? I have to write IUM, that is EM. So un, nil, by, EM. So this is how we have to write the name of any particular element. So let us see some of the names of the elements having atomic number greater than 100. So here you see that is element having atomic number 109. Its name would be what? This is the temporary name. So its name would be what? That is un, nil, and EM. So EM is written with everything. So this is what? This is the abbreviation that we have to do and the rules that we have to follow for writing the names and the symbols for any particular element. And later when the name of the particular element been given, it is modified, that is empty for 109 element. So this is how you need to remember this particular pattern and write the name of the elements. Just for an example, you can see here, that is if you want to write the name for any particular element, say 105, 119, suppose that this particular element will be discovered in the near future, and 121 and 125. So how you are going to write the name for these particular elements? So for 105 what you have to write? That is 1, that is un, for 0 that is nil, for 5 you have to write pent, and for last, that is the suffix, what you have to use? You have to use em. So this is how you are going to write the name of any particular element. So its name will be un, nil, pent, tm, and its symbol would be that is U, that is for un, N, that is for nil, and P, that is for pent. And remember students, the first word should be capital, or I can say the first letter of any symbol would be capital. So here you got, that is, this is what? This is the symbol for this 105 element, or the element having 105 atomic number, and its name would be un, nil, pentium. So such that we can write the name of these particular elements here. So for 109 what we have to do? That is 1 for un, that is also un, and for 9 what we have to use? That is n. So its name would be un, n, and at last what we have to use? That is a suffix, that is em. So its name would be un, nem, and its symbol would be that is U for this, and for small u for this, and E for n. So its symbol would be U, U, E. Okay students, moving to another, that is 121. So how we are going to write the name and the symbol for 121? So for 1 we are going to write that is un, for 2 that is by, and for 1 that is un, and the suffix that we are going to use, that is em. So the symbol would be what? Symbol would be U, B, and U. For 121 that is 121 element. And also students, if suppose this particular element has been invented or been discovered, so where to place this particular elements? This 119 element will be placed under the alkali metal group. So this would be placed in the group 1, and it should be placed in the group 1. And now moving into the last, that is 1 to 5. So for 1 to 5 what we have to write? That is un, for 1, 2 for by, and for 5 that is pant, along with the suffix that is em. So that is I, U, M. So the complete name of 125th element would be unbipentium, and its symbol would be what? That is U, B, P. So this is how you have to write the name and the symbol for any particular element. So students, what you have seen that the symbol of elements could be either single letter, two letter, or a three letter alphabets. That is, for carbon, if I say the symbol for carbon is C, for calcium it is Ca, and for the elements whose name or the symbol is not recommended by the IUPAC, for that we have to use these three letter symbols. So this is all about the periodic table. Moving back, so here you can see that these 118 elements, they are what? They were given the name that is in the form of IUPAC nomenclature, and after the discoveries and after the researches that have been put in these particular elements, we have get their names just like this. You can see here, just for an example, 118th element were given the name like octium, and its symbol would be UUO, and now in 2006 its name been confirmed as organocin with the symbol of OG. So this is all about the nomenclature of the elements having atomic number greater than 100. So now moving into the next, that is how to remember the period and the group number of any element. So here you see the periodic table, and to remember the period as well as the group for any element, you need to remember first of all the period number and where the period is starting. So here you see there are 7 periods and 18 groups. So the periods are termed here or named as, that is, first period, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh, while the groups are 18 in number. So the first period starts from the element with atomic number 1 and it ends to the atomic number 2. So the first period consists of only 2 elements, that is having atomic number 1 to having atomic number 2. So the period, that is for the first period, only 2 elements are present with atomic number 1 and atomic number 2. For the rest of them, you need to remember these particular numbers so that you can easily find that for particular example, or I can say for particular element, where that element be present. If you know the limit of the first element and the last element of any period, you can easily find that that particular element is present somewhere in between them. So this is how you are going to find out the period number for any particular element. So here I am writing the first and the last element's atomic number. So writing for the period number second, that is starting with what? That is 3 and ending to 10, that is from to neon. For the third, that is 11 to 18. For fourth period, that is from 19 to 36. For fifth period, that is from 37 to 54. For sixth period, that is from 55 to 86. For seventh period, that is from 87 to 118. So these are some of the tricks that you need to remember for finding the period number of any element. Here you can also see that the first period contains 2 elements, while the second period contains 8 elements, while the third period contains 8 elements. And moving to the fourth and fifth, they all contain 18 and 18 elements. While talking about the sixth and the seventh period, they both contain 32 elements. So the elements that are present in particular period are, that is 2, 8, 8, 18, 18 and 32. Here in the period number first, second and third, there are no D block elements present, while in the period number 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th, there are D block elements present. But also in the case of, that is period number 6 and period number 7, there are also F block elements present. So you need to remember this also. Talking about the group, here we are writing the group number of these elements, that is group number 1st, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. So for finding any element, whether it is belong to particular block number, what you need to know? You need to know that atomic number for any particular element belonging to some, that is S block, P block, D block or F block. So for S block elements, that is it has group 1 and group 2. For P block elements, it is having the P block elements, it is starting from 13 and ending to the group 18, that is group 13 to 18. For D block elements, it is starting from the third group and ending to the 12th group. So all the elements belonging to the group 3 to group number 12, they all belong to the D block elements. Talking about the F block elements, they all lie in this particular group, that is the third group, because their place is after lanthanum for the lanthanoid series and after actinium for the actinoid series. So now we have moved into the assignment. For the assignment, for subjective questions, you have to do B1 to B4, and for the objective questions, you have to complete, that is B1 to B5. So now that's all for today. That is the modern periodic table, and here you see the young physicist named Henry Moseley. He gave his law in the 1913 while he sacrificed himself for the country in the World War II in 1950. Salute to this person. Thank you all.